What's good, y'all? Back again, another day. It's your boy, the Curtis York. Hey, welcome to Yorktown, baby. We live until 500. We still going live every day until we hit 500 subscribers. So thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. Your boy is back again. And what we're going to be talking about tonight is my top five books of 2023. Now, as a disclaimer, let me say all of these books didn't come out in 2023. As a matter of fact, I think only one of them actually came out in 2023. And I'll discuss that one obviously, but the other four, and I got some honorable mentions as well, but none of these books, except for one, I believe, actually came out in 2023. But the books were very inspirational to me, and I felt like I wanted to share them. Now, yesterday I listed the sneakers in order. I'm not listing these books in any particular order because your boy's about to get on the road. We about to make this trip. You want to find out where we're going? You got to tune in tomorrow to see where your boy is at. But in any event, I just wanted to go through these books. A lot of my peoples, we like to read. In Yorktown, we focus on literacy. We want to make sure that we smart. We want to look cool. We want to dress cool. We want to feel cool, the whole nine. But we actually want to be cool. And a major part of being cool is being smart, man. There's a lot of books out there. Obviously, it's impossible to read every book. And I probably could do a top 10 of 2023. I read a lot of books this year, but this year I primarily focused on reading the same books over and over. So with that being said, let's go ahead on and get into it. The first book that I got on my list, and again, these are in no particular order. These are just books that had a big impact on your boy this year that I read. So the first book that I have is called Wild at Heart. It is a book by John Eldridge. And let me show y'all what I'm talking about. Give me just a second. Present so y'all can see what I mean. So yeah, this is the book. It's called Wild at Heart by John Eldridge. And what it talks about is basically being a man. Now, I will add a disclaimer. There is a very, very, very big Christian narrative attached to the book. Depending on your religion, you might just have to put that to the side and just ignore it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of really good messages in the book. And I know a lot of people don't really rock with Christianity like that. I know a lot of people love Christianity. But whatever the case may be, it is an amazing book. And I definitely don't think that, just because it's focused on a Christian element, you shouldn't read that book. Because if you do, and if that's the reason you decide not to read the book, then you're going to miss out on a really, really, really good learning opportunity. It talks about manhood. The part that stood out to me the most was how it talked about as boys, we look to our fathers initially to validate us as men. And then when we don't get that validation from our fathers, it creates a void that we have to try to fill through other means. And me coming up as in a single parent household with my father living in Atlanta and me living in South Carolina, there was often times that I wanted that void to be filled. And luckily at this age, we're getting there and we're getting a bond and we're building it. That's my guy. I love my dad to death. But it wasn't always like that, man. It was just a gap, you know what I'm saying? So this book made me aware of it and it made me, reach out to my dad more and talk to him more. So shout out to that book. I definitely recommend it. Next book, I think it was actually the first book I read this year. It was Never Finished by David Goggins. Let me show y'all that. Never Finished by David Goggins. Shackle Your Mind and Win the War Within. This is definitely a great book. Guys, I'm a big David Goggins fan, man. He drops a lot of game as far as personal development and just believing in yourself and pushing past your mental boundaries and everything that you have that's holding you back. Just going, man. I rock with David Goggins in that capacity, man. Just being somebody that's willing to lay it all on the line and put it all out there. And through it all, he's found a lot of success. He's been through a lot of triumphs and tragedies, and it's super dope, man. So it's really cool to see somebody that's just focused on excellence and self-perseverance and then taking that information and sharing it with other people. So Never Finished by David Goggins. That was a very good book that I read. Like I said, that was actually, I think, the first book that I read this year. We had a little book club going on and it kind of petered out by March, but it was really good. I definitely like that book, man. So shout out to, I want to say, I think that was my LB Daniel that put me on that book. Um, Next up, oh, this book came out this year. So there's two books that came out this year. My bad. So the next book that I read was Lucky Me by what's my guy's name? Rich Paul. Y'all, this is another book that I loved, man. It's really cool to hear the story of Rich Paul and how he was able to overcome so many obstacles and adversity as well. I'm a real big fan of the underdog. I'm the fan of people that are dealing with situations and trials and tribulations and they make it out on the other side. So I really enjoyed this book, man. I had no idea that Rich Paul's mother was a crackhead, he shares it. So it's not like I'm being funny or anything like that. That's literally, how he basically starts off the book. And he talks about how he came from that lifestyle and, becoming a drug dealer and becoming a gambler and just hustling his whole life into a chance meeting with LeBron James. And from there, what I'm saying, he was able to parlay it into, being one of the highest paid sports agents in the industry. What up? What up? What up? We got my dog Jamari in the chat as always. Welcome back to Yorktown. Man, you a full-time resident at this point, dog. I'm gonna have to make you a moderator, man. If I haven't already. I'm gonna figure that out. But what's going on, big dog? Oh, shout out to Jamari too. He gave me a really good topic that I'm going to touch on. In the essence of time, because I'm gonna be getting on the road shortly. I just wanted to, do something quick and easy that I could get out the way. But Jamari has a really, really, really good topic that we're gonna dive into. It's very salacious, but it's not thirsty. It's not, you know, clout chasing or anything like that. It's a very prevalent issue in our community that we just gotta address, and we're gonna talk about it. And we're gonna get to it, just not tonight, because I gotta get this done so we can get on the road. Your boy about to drink his coffee, and then we hitting the road, Jack. So yeah, with that being said, Lucky Me by Rich Paul, man, really great book. It tells a story, man, of a kid who came from nothing and he was able to make it. And just by a lucky chance encounter, it changed his whole life. And I'll say this: a lot of people think that because he ran with LeBron or he runs with LeBron, everything came to him easy. But there's a lot of people that meet LeBron James. There's a lot of people that talk to him, and he probably shakes their hand in the whole nine. But there aren't that many people that LeBron keeps around in his circle, man. There's a very select few. As a matter of fact, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I got to. You know what I'm saying? It's only right. It'll be crazy if I don't, as we're talking about LeBron's circle. You know what I'm saying? I gotta do it. Hey, I said I wasn't going to, but I got to. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the back of this shoe, and I'm coming, if you look at the back of this shoe, there's only four names. You know what I'm saying? LeBron James knows a lot of people, but if you look at the back of this shoe, there's only four people that you see on the back of this shoe. You know what I'm saying? So obviously LeBron keeps. Oh, it looks like I planned it with the fitted. Y'all, I had no intentions of doing this, but yeah, man, there's four people that LeBron keeps in his inner circle, and one of them is Rich Paul. I don't know which one is which. But yeah, one of these R's is for Rich Paul, man. So, you know what I'm saying? I definitely encourage you to check out this book, man. Really, really, really good book. You'll definitely enjoy it, man. Especially if you want to figure out how to make it from tough situations, if you grew up in the hood or the ghetto or anything like that, how to overcome those obstacles and strive for more, man. Let me see. Next up, we have Super Fans, and this book is by Pat Flynn. And let me show y'all. Super Fans. So Pat Flynn is a guy that has a podcast. What's the name? Smart Passive Income. Smart Passive Income podcast. I listened to his podcast a lot, especially in my early entrepreneur days when I was trying to figure out, how I can make some smart passive income. And, eventually I came across his book and I listened to it this year, even though I was listening to the podcast long before. And, he talks about some really good points. Now, this book, I'll say, is more so focused purely on growing a fan base or a culture. So, I listen to this book obviously because I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel out. So that point me in the right direction as far as that. A lot of really good information. The biggest takeaway I could think is just coming up with the brand and the identity, man. Which again, I gotta shout out my dog Superfly Case because he came up with the name Yorktown. You know what I'm saying? Just little things like that. So when y'all come to this channel, y'all realize y'all are in Yorktown, baby. We the Yorktown citizens, you know what I'm saying? So just building that camaraderie. People like Jamari that come up every day. People like Superfly. And all of my people that come up here constantly, they may not make it to the actual live stream every time, but they'll come and watch the playback and things like that, man. So the community is growing. So obviously, I think some of the things paid off from listening to this book. So I definitely want to share it with y'all, man. And then finally, the last book, as far as my top 5 that I read this year, and I tried to pick books that I read this year, books that I haven't read before, as far as my top 5. Um, because if I just made my top 5 books of all time, then a lot of them would be a bunch of Robert Greene books. So, so I tried to switch it up, man. Organizational culture and leadership. This was another book that I read this year. Hmm, by Shine. Yeah, here we go. So it was the 5th edition. So this was another book that I read this year, Organizational Culture and Leadership. Now, this book, I will tell you, it is a very, very, very dense read. Whereas the other books, there's kind of a hook or there's something to pull you in. This book is more of like a textbook style book, where it just breaks down very practical information and it puts things in black and white terms, and that's what I liked about it. Shout out to my guy Ren Bruce, he put me on. My boy Bruce, he put me on this book. And this was another book that we tried to do in our reading group that kind of petered off. But I really enjoyed this book. It put a lot of things in perspective as far as how organizations are structured and how they're set up, what the culture is like. And I got in trouble reading this book trying to inject culture into certain situations that I probably shouldn't have, just jumping the gun. So yeah, man, I definitely encourage everybody to read this book if you're working in corporate America. It'll give you a better understanding of the cultures that are there and exist and how cultures form, and just a better lay of the land, man. So those are the top 5 books that I say I read this year. Um, and those are only brand new books that I read. Now that we got that out of the way, y'all, I gotta throw in my honorable mentions. Now, my honorable mentions, I just had to do it. These are books that I've read before that had a very big impact on me. Um, and out the gate, Watch Your White Guys Have All the Fun. This book, I think this is the book that I read the most this year. I probably read this book the most this year, I'd say. And I read this book. This is a book that I've read so many times. Like, I want to say the first time I read it was back in 2021. I was just really in my bag, and I think I read this book then. And I often revisit this book, man. I would say I read it about this year alone. I probably read it about 4 or 5 times, man, just going through it. Um, it's a really good book, man. It's another one where, I said the Rich Paul book was for like if you grew up in the hood or the ghetto or you went through, trying tribulations and you had to struggle as a child and you overcame that, that would be the book for you. Well, this book is if you came from a modest background, middle income or just a regular, you didn't grow up in that type of situation or that type of lifestyle where you had to go out and hustle and you had to eat and you had to grind. This book, his mother and his stepfather were there and he took this opportunity and he got his way into Harvard. And this is my frat brother, y'all. It's a Kappa, so I gotta throw that out there. But this brother, man, he went to a HBCU, flipped that, and went to Harvard University. Then he became a lawyer on Wall Street, and then he started flipping businesses and buying businesses and selling them and doing leverage buyouts. And he became the first black man to be a billionaire. Shout out to Reginald F. Lewis, man. I definitely encourage everybody to check this out. Another book that I'm going to have to recommend is The Systems Thinker. Let me see. Is it this one? The Systems Thinker. I think it was this. Let me look. I'll tell you what. Let me figure it out. I'm going to look on my Audible app. That way I make sure I'm giving you the right book to listen to. Because this book was another one that was very practical. I literally listened to this book and I was able to fix an issue that my wife and I had on the spot. You know what I'm saying? Just a disagreement that we were going with in terms of our communication style and how we talk to each other. I read this book, and I was able to take that and instantly apply it and make our relationship 100 times better. No cap. So I definitely encourage you to check out this book as well. And you know, yeah, yeah, guys, definitely. Now, it wouldn't be me if I didn't throw a Robert Greene book in this list. You know what I'm saying? It just wouldn't be your boy. So this year, I think the Robert Greene book that I read the most was The 33 Strategies of War. And the reason that it was this book in particular and not Mastery or the 48 Laws of Power was because I constantly felt like I was at war every day. In the office. And so I had to make sure that I was keeping my T's crossed and my I's dotted. So I didn't want to take any risks or make any of the wrong moves. So I just constantly went back to reading this book. And even there's a chapter about keeping your presence of mind, especially in bad situations. And this year, it was very trying. We went through a lot in 2023, man. I can't tell y'all enough. I talk about it all the time. But if you notice your boy ain't complaining, I just tell y'all what's going on, but I take it in stride and I keep pushing. The reason I've been able to do that is because of this book, specifically the presence of mind chapter. So, these are the 5 books that I think had the biggest impact on me this year. What's that 5 books, y'all? Um, yeah, it felt like we were going so fast. That was 5 books. So, and plus 3 extras. And I'm gonna give y'all one more. This is a book that I read this year as well. Uh, Let me see. This book was good, y'all. I would definitely encourage you to check this out. The Secret Life of Groceries. It breaks down the grocery industry and talks about, from the farms to the truckers, the whole nine. I would definitely currently reading that. I also am reading it as a lesson to my high school. Which book? I've been kind of flowing. Which book, Jamari? So yeah, this book right here breaks down the grocery industry from the farm to the trucks to the actual grocery stores, from the CEOs to the employees. It's a really good book. A passion of mine is, one day I want to own a grocery store chain. That's something I don't know if I ever said that publicly or not. But yeah, a big passion of mine is the grocery industry. I worked at Food Line. Ooh, boy, you hit him upside the head. You teaching that in high school. Ooh, your kids gonna be monsters. Hey, shout out to that, my brother. But yeah, a big passion of mine is actually running a grocery store chain one day. I worked at a grocery store. I tell y'all when things got rough, your boy had to do what he had to do. I took my MBA, went right on down the Food Line, humbled myself, and I got a job. So, I've always had a passion for grocery stores and the operations of them, how they work, just how you walk in and they have certain items on the right. It's immediately when you walk in, how they have the little end caps that, bring extra attention to certain items, how they try to get you right at the register with little candies and snacks and magazines to pick up on the way out. I love it, man. So they are loving it. Shout out to you, man. That's dope, brother. You really creating some monsters out here, man. They gonna wreak havoc out here in this world. So yeah, man, this is a book that I enjoyed very thoroughly, just breaking down the whole operation. Just, even little things like how organic doesn't always mean it's just an orange that they picked up off the tree. It depends on the seed, just because it says 100% juice doesn't mean it's not concentrate. Little things like that. It deep dives into all of this stuff in the book, but it doesn't get boring. It's not a dense read. I definitely encourage you to check these out. And yeah, those are the books that had the biggest impact on me this year. I got another one, but I didn't finish that book yet, and I don't really want to put that on the list until I finish it. So I'm gonna say that one for later. I'm gonna have to do a whole book review on that one. That one's like 800 pages long. I'm on page 600 right now, so I got 200 more to go. But yeah, that's gonna be a heavy one, man. I might just have to do a whole live stream just talking about that one book in particular. But with that being said, y'all, your boy is about to drink this coffee, shower, pack up the kids, and we getting on the road, man. Super excited for this trip because your boy needed a change of pace and a change of energy, man. It's just been so much going on this year, good and bad. Just needed to go somewhere, take my mind off of it. And like I said, it ain't nothing fancy like the Bahamas or nothing like that, but it's just a different energy, man. So super excited about that. And you'll see where I'm at tomorrow when we go live. I think tomorrow it'll probably be the regular 9:30 time frame. If not, I'll just make a post and announce it early so everybody can get it. But yeah, your boy gonna be knocked out all day tomorrow because I'm driving all night. I was pretty much asleep all day today. So with that being said, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Shout out to my dog Jamari, as always, for being an active participant at Yorktown. We're gonna have to make him like a comptroller or something like that. We're gonna have to give him a role, man, like the superintendent or something. You know what I mean? Because my boy is always coming through showing that love. So I'm gonna holler at y'all tomorrow. All right.